Hi challengers. This is an unplanned video, but I was sitting here eating my lunch and thinking about, first of all, how delicious it is, and second of all, that it was just something that I threw together. And I think it's so easy for me and Celia to sit here and tell y'all to just throw together what's in your fridge because we have gotten used to eating this way. And so for us, we have learned, we have practiced, we have become good at looking in our fridge, seeing what we have, and throwing together a meal. Whether that be raw ingredients that we got to work with or leftovers that we kind of mix and match. And so I think, we look at stuff and sometimes maybe we underestimate, like we forget how far we've come. And just as a heads up, for those of you who don't personally know me, I want you to understand that I grew up, hi Sil, totally unplanned video. So, I grew up, first of all, in the South. So, butter is a staple, and I don't believe butter is bad if you're eating the right kind of butter, but butter was a staple. Casseroles were the norm. Most nights we had casseroles, and at my house we had like casseroles with a canned vegetable, so like green beans or corn or whatever, asparagus. And then a lot of times we had those Sister Schubert dinner rolls, you know what I'm talking about? But anyway, growing up, that's kind of what I ate. When I went to college, I knew how to cook because my mom and my grandma taught me that. And surprisingly, a lot of my friends didn't know how to cook, and I didn't really understand it, but I realized, like, I just grew up loving it. I grew up watching what my mom and my grandma did, and that's kind of, I just learned by getting involved. And so I was always kind of in the kitchen, but I didn't necessarily grow up like interested in nutrition as much as I grew up caring about, and this is just, this was just me. I'm not like putting this blame on anyone, but I just really cared about nutrition as far as being skinny. Like, that's what I was just obsessed with, my weight, and specifically the number on the scale. But it wasn't until really after college and about 4.5 maybe years ago that I started wanting to understand, like, how does food affect my body? How does what I put in it, like, what happens when food goes in my body? Like, how does it break down? How does it get turned into nutrients? How is waste and nutrients separated and all that jazz? And some of you don't care about that. Like, you just want to know what's good for you. And this isn't like what you're passionate about, like what we are, and that's okay. But we do want you to have kind of a basic understanding of like what foods like work for you and why, just so you know what you're putting together. And for those of you who don't care, that's what this Fab4 formula is so good for, because it's basically, Kelly's already done the science. Kelly's the one who wrote the Fab4 formula. She's saying if you have a fat, a protein, a fiber, and a green, you have a complete meal that's going to sustain you, it's going to keep you full, it's going to give you the nutrients you need, and it's going to allow your body to work the way that it needs to work. So that's kind of why we've taken this formula and why we really want to teach you how to use it, because this is something that you can work with for the rest of your life. This is something that really gives you the freedom to kind of eat what you want within this structure. So anyway, that was a tangent. I don't really even know what it has to do with what I was saying, but my point is, I didn't care about all this until recently. Well, recently to me, 4 or 5 years ago. So you can learn this stuff. For those of you who feel like we are experts at what we do and you're never going to be on our level, 4 and 5 years ago, I was looking to other people saying, wow, I wish I was that knowledgeable. I wish I knew how to do the research that they do. I wish I knew like what to study and what to read and what to look for and what was good for my body. Like, I didn't know any of that stuff, and I didn't even know where to begin. I just wanted that. Like, I wanted to understand it. So first of all, if you want to get better at this and you feel like this is overwhelming, that's what this group is for. Ask us all the questions. We want to help you learn how to do this stuff too. But my point in all of this is sometimes Celia and I probably tell you like, do this, do that, and we've even caught ourselves being like, okay, what things do we need to break down even further for some people? So first of all, give us a heads up if there's anything ever that you're like, can you break that down a little more? And we will gladly do it. But I wanted to show you kind of how I created my lunch for today, because it was a really, really easy thing for me and something I really didn't think twice about. But it might give you an idea of sort of how I create a lot of my meals. So last Friday to lunch, to work, I brought lunch and I brought cauliflower rice. I gotta remember what's in this. Cauliflower rice, onions, I'm forgetting something else, but, avocado, and 2 fried eggs, and there was something green. I don't remember what it is anymore though. Anyway, it was a Fab 4 meal, and I made just my normal amount, but I honestly was so full that I could only eat about half of it. And that's part of the beauty of the Fab 4, is you're gonna fill up fast on it. So I left it here, planning to eat it today. So last night I had breakfast for dinner. It was sugar-free bacon, 2 fried eggs, some sweet potato, spiralized sweet potatoes sauteed, and then Brussels sprouts sauteed. So that was a green, a fiber, a fat, and a protein. And so I had some leftover spiralized sweet potatoes, and I had some leftover steamed broccoli from earlier in the week. That's what was the other thing that was in this meal, was broccoli. That was my green. And so I was trying to think about like, what do I want to make for dinner or for lunch to take tomorrow? And I remembered that I had this stuff here, and it wasn't really a Fab 4 meal because I had eaten all my broccoli out of it. So today I brought my leftover sweet potatoes and my leftover broccoli, and I just threw it into what I had left of the eggs and the cauliflower and the onions. So it doesn't look that beautiful, but I'll show it to you. So this is my lunch. And all it is a mashup of vegetables that I had already sauteed into something from earlier this week, and then vegetables from a meal last night. So not only can you kind of just take what you have in your fridge and throw it into a random hash of vegetables and protein, fat and fiber, but you can even take 2 separate hashes that you've made of random stuff and throw them together. We really want you to learn, don't discriminate against foods that you think typically are a breakfast food or that you don't know would necessarily go together. Sometimes make really great combos. I don't think I've ever eaten cauliflower and sweet potato together until today. I just don't think I have. But these actually go really, really great together. You just may not typically think to, but mix things up, throw things together, and you will find some of your favorite combos. I am absolutely obsessed with the combo of Brussels sprouts, sweet potatoes, and fried eggs. And if I have onions or avocado to throw on there, it's like perfect. Oh, pork carnitas. That's like my ideal meal, all of those things put together. And they're not necessarily things you would really think to put together, but it was just one of those days where I didn't have, that's what I had. So I threw it in a pan and it was good. So think when you're trying to put meals together and you feel like you don't have anything, you might actually just grab what's in your fridge and throw it all together, and it could be one of your very favorite meals. So anyway, this was really random. I had no notes, I had no plans. I was literally just eating my lunch and reading Body Love, the Fab 4 book. And I was like, I want to show them this. So if you have questions about this, or how I put together this meal, or what I actually did to cook it all, or anything else, let me know in the comments and I'll be more than happy to answer them. And again, if there's anything else that we talk about that you're like, can you break that down a little further, let us know and we will absolutely make sure that we do that. So that's all, guys. Happy Monday. Bye.